So I'm at a weird point in my life at the moment. I'm in a bit of a conundrum. It's kind of a good problem, but I guess I'll start kind of from the beginning, right? So about, almost 6 years ago now, when I first met my wife, we kind of built a plan. It wasn't like written down or anything, but we had a very good idea of how we wanted the next 5 years to go, which was crazy because obviously we weren't married at the time, but I guess just when you love somebody, it kind of just comes naturally. That's the way I'd put it. It's very easy, and we kind of built this plan. Take vacations while we're young. So we took vacations for 4 years, or yeah, for 4 years, and of course I get engaged. We get engaged, right? And then in year 5, we elope. So now we're married, and we bought a house, and now we're coming to the end of this plan that we had, which was now we're gonna have our big wedding, right? The one that you kind of dream of, right? Rather than just eloping. But we loved it just eloping, but we also want to enjoy our marriage with our families, right? So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna go to Japan for 3 weeks, so for our honeymoon. And that's kind of the cherry on top for our beginning plan, our young versions of ourselves, like that was our plan. And we're coming to the end of this, and I'm very plan oriented. Like I said, we just planned the last 5 years, 6 years basically, and it pretty much all went according to plan, thank God. And so there's just a few more steps. I'm gonna finish school, and then of course hopefully get an even better job. And so my problem is, what is next? Like, what is after this? Because we kind of already did pretty much everything but have kids at this point, or we're going to, because we have everything ready. But I guess we're, fulfilling the ideal life that mankind, the blueprint kind of that's laid out. Go get married, right? Buy a house, go get a good job, finish school, do all that stuff, right? So we're kind of, we're fulfilling the ideal human blueprint to life, right? Which it's been great, right? I'm not tripping on it or anything yet, and honestly right now I feel great with how life is, like especially my inner self. I definitely feel like the most peace I've ever felt. And my problem is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just I'm a little confused, like what is next? And of course, obviously I've never had this problem before. Like, why do I not know what is next? Like, and how can I figure it out? Now, as I've said, like the next year is kind of planned out, right? Gonna go finish school and stuff. And then of course have kids, right? And that's gonna be huge. Like, don't get me wrong, that's huge. And pretty much just providing for them. And I guess that's just the next step, right? Like, you would think. And obviously, that's like one thing that I'm gonna enjoy in my life, providing for my family, right? But is that really just it? Like, just go make the money and go come home and that's fall asleep on the couch, and that's like the whole point of my life, I guess, after this? Like, what is it that's next for me and my wife, right? But I've been thinking about this so much. Like, I'll literally sit on the toilet, bro, and just think about this. Like, what? And I've kind of come to a bit of a conclusion. I guess actually it is a conclusion, not a bit of a conclusion. But I fulfilled mankind's blueprint, and that's great. But I think the next step for me is fulfilling the blueprint that doesn't actually exist, which is God's plan for me. And of course, God's not going to give me that blueprint. So I'm kind of just going to have to be in the unknown, and I'm not going to be able to plan it as good as I want. Like, it's not going to be in my control necessarily, which is going to be super new for me because I love not controlling, but just knowing what's next, right? Who doesn't want to know what's next? So for sure, I need to become the person that, people think are like, so like, here's kind of my goal. And it is very peculiar, and it's not going to be easy. It's going to be, it's going to be arduous for me as a human, but my goal is to become a person that others will look at and they'll ask, why is he like that? In a good way, not in a bad way, right? Not in like, oh, why is he like that? Like he's Sped Nation or something like that. But I want to be somebody that's looked at and they're wondering how he got to this phase in his life, or why he acts the way he does. And I want to act in a way that's super Christ-like. I need to know and I need to understand Christ's ministry, like what he came to this earth for and what he taught the people, right? The apostles and, the early Christians. So I really need to do a deep dive into the Bible, like way more than I do now. Like I definitely brush it off way more than I should. Or I shouldn't be brushing it off at all, right? Like, I should be more knowing. I'm not trying to be a, theologian, right? Where I know each verse. Like you can ask me a verse and I'll know it off the top of my head, right? Like I'm not trying to be like that, but I just want to be able to understand and be able to explain exactly what it is that Jesus taught. Like I want to be able to be that person when somebody asks me, why are you like that? Why are you the way that you are? I want to be able to easily explain and, be a representation of Christ, right? Like I want people to look at me and my family and everything like in a way that they see God almost, right? I'm not trying to be God, right? That nobody can be perfect, but I do want to be a bit peculiar in a way. And I want to be able to be the person that others can come to and feel like they have access to me, but not in, obviously I don't want people to run over me or anything like that. Like that's not what I mean by this. I mean, like, I want to be useful. I want to be somebody that people can come to and ask like for help. Like, you know what I mean? I guess I'm over the material earthly part of life, right? I guess God allowed me to have the great things that I do have, and that's great. But at the moment in my life, if I were to lose, whether it's finances or whether it's person or if it's anything like that, I feel like right now I'm not prepared to lose that. If you feel me, my mind is still here on earth, and my mindset in general is still here on earth, and I want to be someone who thinks eternally. I don't want to just think about what the next 50 years of my life is going to look like. I want to be prepared for the infinite amount of years after these next 50 years, right? Like I want to be looking towards after life. And I think that's where my next step is, to be a provider of the food on my kids' tables and the roof over my wife's head. But I want to provide knowledge of the Lord and just be a well for the people around me. Like literally that's my next step. And I want to be able to not have fear that losing something here on earth is losing something for eternity. Like I don't want to have that fear. I want to accept impermanence, that things on this earth are not permanent, right? Everything's destined to die. And right now I'm saying like I'm fully self-aware of the fact like these things are true, but for some reason it's not sticking. It's not ingrained in my brain, and I want it to be. And of course, this is only one part of what I believe is next in my life, but I'm sure there will be plenty of other things that I come to think of, because like I said, I'm still a little confused. Maybe I'm not confused. Maybe I do understand what it is, but maybe I'm just not accepting it. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I know that through prayer and through the Spirit, God will shine a light and he will give me the sign that I need. And I just have to, listen to that still small voice in my head almost, because that's how I feel the Holy Spirit most of the time. Or maybe it's a new way that he shows me, but I need to be prepared for when he does send me that signal, because I do not want to be the person that needs 30 different signals. I just need one. I just want to be able to only have one, Or maybe he's already given it to me. Maybe, I'm sure he probably has, and I probably look stupid right now, right? But as long as I'm trying to get to that next point, that's what I am striving for currently, right? So yeah, I'm sorry for completely rambling this video. I have a better, more concise and structured video coming next. But yeah, I just really wanted to get this off, not my chest, but I just wanted to get it out of my head. I wanted to put it out into the existence. And ultimately, YouTube is part of this next step, I believe. It's like just getting the gospel out there, But yeah, man, if you're here at this point, I appreciate you. And I thank you for listening to me yapping. So yeah, appreciate y'all, and God bless. Deuces.